Greg, welcome to Dale Carnegie Training Japan's TV channel. And it's a great pleasure to have the Director for Trainer Quality for Asia Pacific, Greg Hock, as our guest today. You've had a long career with Dale Carnegie, I think 27 years you were telling me the other day. You must have had many roles. What have sort of been the key roles for you in those 27 years?
Well, like a lot of people, I started as a salesperson, selling public and in-house programs. Did that, and then became a local training director. Then became a sales manager, so I was responsible for sales, marketing, advertising. And then moved into what is now our learning and organization development department. And there, some of my roles were instructional design for some of our revisions of our products. Also got involved in opening up Dale Carnegie training in brand new countries. For one stretch there, I was what we call a curriculum director. We've got 6 major curriculum areas in Dale Carnegie training: leadership, customer service, sales, process improvement, presentations, team member engagement. So I was our sales and customer service curriculum director. And then for a long stretch there, I was involved in designing one of our brand new product lines, which was a series of modules that can be combined and blended together into a specialized solution for a specific client need. Then just recently, in September of 2013, I found myself with an opportunity to take the role of Director of Trainer Quality for Asia Pacific.
Well, Dale Carnegie has a long history. We're talking about 102 years now around the world, and we're 51 years here in Japan. Why do you think Dale Carnegie's training methodologies, which have really deep roots, very long history, why have they stood the test of time?
Our methodologies transcend cultures. They transcend language, because it's about the personal interaction. It's about making the training focus on the specific persons. Our content is not, our focus is not on our content, it's on our participants.
So why do you think the methodologies are still relevant today?
Because I think really human behavior doesn't change that much. The basic needs that people have, they're consistent, they're constant. I found that to be true across every culture, focusing on one person at a time. And that's the heart of our methodology, is focusing on those individuals. So when we do that, it's not about the content, it's not about the culture, it's about each individual. And our trainers go through an extensive training process to help them focus on the participant needs, the client organization needs, to hit the targets and help people live more enriching lives in their jobs, more career growth and opportunity, opportunities to create value for their organizations, reduce stress in their jobs, and get more satisfaction there.
You gave me very kindly a book by Greg Burton. He was the head of instructional design in the 50s, and as I understand, the original head of instructional design was Dale Carnegie himself, right the way through until he passed away. And then Greg Burton took over, and I presume we've had a continuous line of people in that role. So what it says to me is there's been a very long history in Dale Carnegie of thinking about trainer development. And I noticed that Dale Carnegie is very, very stringent for trainer certification. You know, we are ISO 9001 certified, 250 hours of training to become a certified Dale Carnegie trainer. You must recertify every year. We have master trainers like yourself come and put everyone through their paces. Why is Dale Carnegie so stringent about trainer quality?
Well, because our delivery methodology is really unique. Some training organizations, they find subject matter experts who've got expertise in a specific area. It might be process improvement, it might be sales. Dale Carnegie training is not about our content, it's really about our methodology. We facilitate to draw ideas out from class members. That's experiential. It's not about content and knowledge. We coach people to improve their performance in the moment, to help them see the shift immediately now. They feel it themselves, and the other participants in the class feel it. So this is not about content and teaching people, it's about drawing people out and bringing out the best in them. That's not the kind of thing that happens from reading a trainer manual or even watching a video. So our trainer methodology, it takes time. It takes time to master that. And so for that reason, we're not looking actually for presenters, not at all, in Dale Carnegie training. What we look for are business people, people who know about business acumen. people who create business results, and people who have a heart for changing an organization, for helping people improve their performance. When Dale Carnegie first started recruiting trainers, that's what he was looking for, is successful business people. And he was also talking to the high-level minds of the day, people that were doing research. He would bring them in as guest instructors. And then here in Japan, back in the 1960s, that's what they started looking for as well. Whitlow and Frank Machizuki, who were some of the kinds of trainers that were here early in Japan.
Well, it's very interesting you mention that, because it's almost a mirror of what Dale Carnegie was doing in America, as you say, recruiting high-powered, high-level business people to become trainers. And Frank Mochizuki, who was running it on the ground here who was based in Hawaii, he made an actual decision that I will only train the top-ranked companies. That was his first decision. I'm not going to worry about the second, third tier. We will only train the top tier. And he recruited the presidents of companies, and they were usually what we say in Japanese geishike companies, or multinational companies, because they could speak English. Because at that stage, in the early stage, everything was in English, because the manuals hadn't been translated, and Whitlow didn't speak Japanese, so they had to start in English. But it's very interesting, Bank of America, Warner Brothers, really well-known brands here in Japan and around the world. These were the presidents of those companies delivering the training. So you can imagine, you're doing your Dale Carnegie course, and the Japanese president of the Bank of America is your instructor. That's a very big deal. Right?
Pretty high power.
Pretty high powered. And I think that's something too you mentioned about that business base of coming out of business and then learning how to become a Dale Carnegie trainer, as opposed to just being a professional trainer with no great business background, because we're really encouraging our trainers to be able to add those insights and experiences that they've built up through their business careers to add value to the participants. Dale Carnegie Training actually has its own university, Carnegie University. What role does Carnegie University play in developing expertise for trainers?
Well, part of that is our master trainers, who are responsible for the certification of our trainers. We do local trainer development events, and then we do online training for trainers to understand our content and our methodology more fully before they come to a face-to-face event, where they are coached and they are redirected and certified by a master trainer. They pass or fail this event. And it's a pretty extensive, exhaustive experience. Dale Carnegie University oversees that process. Just last night we had a trainer meeting here. I was talking to the general manager of a big IT company here in Japan. He's one of our trainers. He's the general manager. And I said, he lives in Hiroshima, and he was doing a training program here, which meant a 5-hour trip to deliver a program and to take 3 days away from his business, away from his family. And I said, why do you do this? And he said, this gives me the opportunity to do what I love to do, which is have an impact on organizations and to make a difference in people's lives. That's the kind of person that we have here at Dale Carnegie Training Japan. They're passionate about helping people and helping organizations.
Well, that particular trainer you're referring to has been the president of his own training company within his major company's group, and now they've put him in charge of a whole region of Japan. But he does it because he has that passion for Dale Carnegie and learning himself. But again, when we get the feedback on his classes, particularly in the leadership area, phenomenally positive feedback, because he's bringing such a high level of experience, insight, and expertise to those classes. The participants just love it. And I think that's typical. That is not the exception in Dale Carnegie. That is typical in Dale Carnegie. In Japan, we're very fortunate. We've got 40 trainers, all senior, all very experienced people. Many of them have full-time jobs, and so they'll train for us on weekends or evenings. And others who been in businesses who've gone out on their own, so they're doing the Monday to Friday 9 to 5 component. But they're all coming out of that similar background and going through the very tough certification process that we have. And as we've been going through that ourselves these last 4 days, we understand the demands that Dale Carnegie puts on people to become trainers. And we'd like to thank you, particularly Greg, for your efforts in helping us to become better trainers. It's been a phenomenal experience, learning experience for all of us. Welcome to Japan for the first time, not for the last time. and we look forward to seeing you when you get a chance to come back and help us again. Today, thank you very much
I
for
look
joining
forward
us.
to come back.
Yes,
Thanks,
thank
Greg.
you. Thank you.
Thanks.